Ah, good morning, all. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Try it out. Instead of the you, put the I in there. I know it. Yes, you do. Ah, the talks this month, or all year, are by different ministers throughout the movement. This month of talks for January was by all of our wisdom sage ministers. Another way of calling them retired, and and one of them was our dear Maureen Hoyt, who will be speaking next month. Yeah, this one was guided by her. So we get these bullet points that we get to work from, and then all the different ministers go to work. And I get emails from a lot of different ministers, so it's interesting to see how they're all unpacking this one title, which officially is supposed to be what the mystics taught, right? And as I read that chapter from the Science of Mind textbook that Rob was showing us, there's a great chapter. I think it's chapter 16. You look it up? What the mystics taught? And what comes to me is that we do know it. We have, and in our teaching, we're given the way to find that mystical truth that's within each and every one of us. We all have it. We all have the ability to be a perceiver of truth and to release that truth through our being. There's an intuitive sense. That's why in the affirmation, I use the psalmist from the 46th Psalm, be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. And the I am is each and every one of us. We use it every time we describe our relationship with whatever we have a relationship with. I am a son, I am a brother, I'm a minister, I'm a friend, I'm a lover of nature. But it's all these things that we are begin with the I am. We are the great I am, the revealer of the eternal verities. I love that word, verities. The eternal truths, the eternal principles, the eternal beliefs that transcend different faith organizations. Doesn't matter whether you're a Lutheran or Sikh, Baptist, Jewish. What did we come up with in our class on Tuesday? It's not recovering Catholics anymore. It's evolving Catholics? Evolving Catholics, right? We all have this ability to understand the fundamental importance of life, to understand that there is a oneness, a unity that we're all a part of. And the thing about it is, when we have that mystical experience, it comes to us from an unconscious place. It arrives as a fellow this morning, a sister within the church this morning came up to me and says, "What is it?" I'm not going to call her out, so I'll stand over here because I think she's sitting over there. She says, "What is it when you walk outside that you feel so good? I just walk out in nature and I just feel alive." And I was going, "Because you're one with God." She goes, "Yeah, but there's something happening." I said, "Well, yeah, you're one with God." No, that's not it. I said, "Well," because see, religious scientists, we want an answer. I said, "Well, it dawns on me that we are, a lot of our body is water, and the atmosphere has a lot of water in it. So when we're out in the atmosphere, we're feeling that connection. Oh, that's good. Yeah." And I said, and then I'm reading this great book on from a guy named Guy Murchie on the 7 mysteries of life. And one of the things he talks about is the commonalities between humans and plants and fish and everything like this. And that, plants do photosynthesis, and we also photosynthesize. We just do it through digestion. We eat the food. We eat the photosynthesis. We eat the sun. So when you're out in nature, you're experiencing that same kind of process. You're getting that vitamin D download. And she was like, "Oh, yeah. I get it now. I said, "But truth of it is, you're just a mystic, and you were feeling the oneness and the unity of all life." And that's what we get to have. We get to have that, There was a guy, John Donne, was a 17th century English poet. And he wrote this poem about the journey of a man who was trying to find this thing I'm talking about, this mystical idea, and find his oneness. And someone told him he wanted to seek out God. And somebody in the poem, John Donne describes how this man went to a seer who told him that God lived on a mountaintop in a far-off land. So he went to the far-off land, and he went up the mountain. And while he was traveling up one side of the mountain, God, sitting up on the mountain, said, this is kind of boring sitting up on the mountain. I think I want to go and be among the people. So he walked down the other side of the mountain. So when the guy gets to the top of the mountain, he's looking around, he goes, darn, God ain't here. There's no God here. But really, what John Donne reveals in the poem is that, no, that's true. God's not high there or low there. He's everywhere, but God lives down within us, with the people, within all of us, you see. So that's the experience that gives us the opportunity, as Lane was saying, when the door opens or closes, open it up. Well, we have closed the door sometimes on our mystical truth and understanding of life itself, but we can open it up through consciousness. We have that ability, you see. It doesn't matter what your place is or your time in life or your station in life, whether you're a man who sits around and ohms all day long with chimes and meditates, or you're just racing from one place to the next to get business done, or you're cooking up a bunch of meals, or you're taking care of your parents, or taking care of your kids, or you're in the gap and you're taking care of both. Doesn't matter where that is, you have the access to this mystical experience. You have this understanding because we live in the atmosphere that is God itself, right? And so we have the access to the understanding that there is only this one. Dr. Holmes says that a mystic is not a mysterious person, but is one who has a deep inner sense of life and their unity with the whole. With their unity with the whole. But the challenge is, there's a lot of blocks to mysticism. There's a lot of blocks to it. Life is messy. You know it. You don't believe me? Look under your bed. And if you're, it's dust bunnies, and there's that sock, all kinds of stuff. Life is messy. And then we're busy running from here to there, and sometimes I'm misconnecting all the dots, how everything lines up sometimes. So I get so wrapped up in the day-to-day hum of humanity, Yesterday, I managed to actually put my phone down for like an hour, maybe longer. It helped that it was at 10% power and I needed to plug it in. Right? Don't we get that? It's hard. It is so hard. But I did. I tell you, I was falling last week. Remember I talked about falling into the Google hole last week? One of the Google holes I fell into was 7 things you must do with your iPhone. So I got an iPhone. Okay. Well, it turns out there's 7 things that you can turn off inside your iPhone that increases your battery power. But one of the things that they recommend turning off is all of the location services and all of the notification services and all of the you are here, so your app needs to know that you are here and is always checking to see if you're turning all that stuff off. It was great. But what that also did was it means that I don't get a bunch of notifications on my phone anymore. So it's just sitting on the table and it's not vibrating all day, making me go, right? Opening me up to a more of the mystical experience. We have to work at it, because it's not just technology that does it, it's life that does it. This morning on the way here, I was a little bit late. No, I was arriving at a time that was not the time I designed to be here. And here's this car in front of me, and this lady is just driving like it's Sunday morning. Exactly. She doesn't realize it's my Monday, Turns out she had a flat. She's and she didn't, I don't think she knew it because the car was kind of, and so her decision was just to drive slower. So I kind of rolled up next to her and I did the 21st century version of this, which was this. Right? Because who in here? Anybody still? Yeah? In the backseat of the car? I had one until recently. I loved having my crank window. But she did. And I said, you have a flat. What? Flat. 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 Ah. She was like so pleased. She kind of drove on off. But my brain was judging her for you're driving slow, you're getting in the way, da-da-da-da-da. But it turns out there was a bigger story there. And that happens all over the place. We're always missing the opportunity to see the bigger story. Even the person who might be asking for $1, what do we take? Oh, he's going to use that for booze. We got the story. Sometimes, but maybe he is. So what? Maybe the beer that he buys with your dollar is the beer that gives him the moment of clarity that he never has to have another beer again. We don't know what the bigger story is, but we're so busy judging instead of realizing there's a divine emanation of spirit that's in need, and I have abundance, and much has been given of me, therefore much is expected of me. I need to give something to this person, even if it's just my love for the moment, to say, hey, you're having a hard time. Is there anything you need? Maybe I could give it to you. But we're too busy. We're missing the value. We deny the dignity. We lack giving everybody their respect. And it's a little wonder that the world is where it is today. We're so stuck in our human perspective that we forget our God perspective, which is the mystic perspective, which is the unity perspective, which is the wholeness perspective, which is the one that we're all a part of this party. So if there's somebody over in the corner that's not dancing, say, hey, what song do you like? I'll put your music on and let's dance. Let's do the tango together. But it's too easy. One and out. You messed up, you're done. You're history. You're out of here. 3 strikes. Not even 3 strikes anymore. 1 strike. You do one thing wrong, they put you in the newspaper. Your job is done. You're out of here. No trial. It's over. We have no compassion because we want certainty. I want an immediate answer and I want it now. Google will tell you 16 million responses, and it took 2.6 seconds to get those 16 million responses. We want it now. But those immediate answers are a chimera. You know what a chimera is? Have you heard of this one? I'm so glad Jay is here today. That book, Into the Magic Shop, is blowing my mind. It's beautiful, and he talks about it. He talks about this thing called a chimera. It's the opposite of the unicorn. When you think about a unicorn, you think, ooh, it's all fun and airy. But the chimera is a goat's head and a lion's head and a goat's body and a serpent's tail breathing fire. Ooh, it's a nasty combination. When you got a chimera up your, that's not good. It's not good at all. And in the book, Into the Magic Shop, the man in the key player, the hero of the story, he's got this chimera that he lets go of. Lets go of this idea of certainty. He lets go of immediate answers. He lets go of having to know. And he says something happens. He said, I had been chasing a chimera, and letting go gave me the most valuable gifts of all: clarity, purpose, and freedom. When we can stop chasing the human experience every single moment of every single day, turn off the notifications, see the other and give respect and value and perspective to what's going on in life, we get that clarity, and then we perhaps even find our own life purpose. And when you have your life purpose, man, it's freedom. It's liberating. Those of us who have found our life purpose know that. And those of us who are looking for it desire that sense of freedom, that sense of clarity. And one of the things we get to know is that this idea of certainty, it's an infinite universe. Well, certainty is not quite possible from a limited perspective. There's so much more that we need to know. But in the stillness, be still and know. In the stillness, I can know. Be still and know I am. See, that's when we can come to see the wounds of the universe, the wounds of the world, the wounds of our fellow people. And there are a lot of them out there. We can see it all the time. If when you answer the notification and you look into the news and read what's going on, you can see the wounds are out there. What is ready to be healed is ready for us to heal. And that's where this season for nonviolence comes into play. It gives us the opportunity to focus on the wounds, but also on the healing. To move from the little lemon to the big lemon, as it were, to see that there are possibilities that exist beyond ourselves. And this season for nonviolence calls us to a moment of being quiet. And in that quiet, in that reflective moment, something arises, and what arises can be absolutely beautiful. Inner wisdom. Dr. Holmes says that in moments of deepest realization, the greatest mystics have sensed that one life flows through all, and that all are some part of that life. That's what this next 64 days calls us to know. It calls us to live our mystic self by knowing that we are some part Not just some part, but an amazing, important part of that life. And that all the things that happen in our life are designed to bring us to the moment of realization. I love Thomas Merton. And he talks about his journey into his own experience of oneness and unity. And in it, he talks about the things that get us there and how sometimes we have to let something go. It's like, let's see if I can figure out the train of thought that he does. He says, like, a fish trap is designed to catch fish. And once you catch the fish, you leave the trap alone. A rabbit snare is designed to snare a rabbit. Once you snare a rabbit, you move away from the snare. You're not there anymore. He says, words are designed to capture ideas. Once you capture the idea, you don't need the words anymore. Prayer is an assessment, a bunch of words that capture an idea. And once the prayer is realized, once you embody the prayer, you don't need the prayer anymore, because when you realize the prayer, you've realized the presence. And what Thomas Merton talks about is he wants to find the person who has forgotten the prayer, who's left the words behind, who's moved beyond the idea because they've embodied the idea. That's the mystic. And that's what we all have the ability to do. When we're doing our prayer work and we capture the moment in that prayer, then you go like, ooh, I feel it. That's that moment of realization. And that's why we say the Thanksgiving part of treatment, because, ooh, I feel it. I got it. I'm so grateful to have it. And then we release everything that it took to get us to there. That's the release step, because now we have it, and now we live it in the world. So I get what he was talking about. I want to know the person who can release it, but not let it go. They don't let the idea go. They just release all the stuff it took to get to the idea. That's where we're getting to. And once you do that, that's when manifestation happens in your life. That's when that journey of oneness, that's when that mystical truth starts to show up. And the thing about being a mystic, it's not like airy-fairy. It's not like the unicorn. You're not floating with your feet off the ground and your head in the clouds. No, you're grounded. You're grounded in the understanding. Mysticism is practical. And that's why we teach in Science of Mind the things like treatment, and why we talk about meditation, and why we talk about taking the classes, because we want to be grounded in this truth. We don't want to float off somewhere and not be practical, not be able to help, and not be able to change anything. We are change agents and permissionaries for people to be the best that they could possibly be, including each and every one of us. And that is that unitive mystical experience that we're talking about. Dr. Holmes says that the teachings of the mystics has been that there should be conscious courting of the divine presence. Consciously, we should date God, right? And there should be a conscious receptivity to it, too. We should be aware of what we're receiving, but it must be balanced, right? So we have to keep on being in life. We have to keep on recognizing the homeless person. We have to keep on telling the lady she's got a flat tire. We got to keep on being present to the everyday activities. We even have to keep on our notifications and seeing what's happening. We have to stay with the news and do our prayer work around what's happening in the news. We have to bridge the divides. We have to work the work, because that marvelous presence has given us the ideas here. And now what are we going to do with it? That's the next step. What do we do with it? We've got the consciousness. We've got the key to the door that Lane was talking about. Now we've got the key, the consciousness. We've got the unity. We've got the wholeness. We open up the door and we step through, and then we make the change by being the best person we can possibly be. In the Upanishads, the Vedic teachings, they have this. This is from a woman named Stephanie Donick. She says, "When you know beyond any doubting, then a single life force flows through everything." When you know beyond any doubting, then a single life force flows through everything. And that you are this life, then you will love all beings naturally and effortlessly. And when you realize the depths of fullness in your life, when you realize the depths and fullness of love for your own self, you will know that every living being and the entire universe are included in your care. Wow, that's really sweet. Sounds like a lot of responsibility, but actually it's not. Because all of us have the ability to do it, so we all have our little part to do it. It's not like one person has to do everything, but we all do a little bit that we're called to ourselves individually to do, you see. It's really beautiful. And there's so much of it there. I mean, we've got climate change going on, and news of families separated, not just at our own border that we hear about, but floating across the Mediterranean, moving from one part of Europe to another part of Europe, portions of Africa that a line was drawn by people who didn't even live there, that separated two different tribes in the middle of the tribe, so the one side wants to be with another side, and they're all over the world. We've got this separation going on. And the saber rattling, oh my goodness, I mean, people just, my sword's bigger than your sword. Well, both of them need to go get a Porsche and get over it. It's just crazy. It's crazy what's going on. And our political divide, it's just, we'll just not getting started there. But maybe we should get started there. Maybe we should get started there. Maybe we should go on our Facebooks and say a kind thing to the person who's saying something we don't quite understand, instead of the easy thing, you're not my friend anymore. You're blocked. No. Let's unblock. Let's refriend. Let's rekind ourselves. That's what the season for nine violets gives us the opportunity to do. Gabriel Saram spells his name funny. No, says here, only when the true essence of who we are becomes known to all of us can we as humanity turn away from the darkness of the past toward the light of the present. Then and only then can the whole cosmos finally become a place of harmony, peace, and happiness to all living beings. Well, the only win is not that far away. The only win resides within each and every one of us. So only when individually we decide to be still and know, only when we accept our relationship to the divine and our unity with the whole, only when we hear the force. Hear the force, Luke. Trust the force. Only when we can trust the force, right? Then the presence arrives to it and arrives to us. And you know this. You know it. And so it is. All right. Here we are. You ready? Be still and know. When I get still, an infinite presence within reveals to me the great mystery which sets me free. Rob, would you like to do the healing prayer today? Please.
So let's begin by being observant and just saying out loud those conditions that in treatment we turn away from. So now I invite you to say the things that you feel a call to change. Dr. Holmes says that in treatment we turn away from the thing that is causing the dis-ease, because we know that the truth that resides everywhere, the truth that is infinite, it is love, it is peace, it is life, and life always expresses as health, and it expresses perfectly that there is only the one. And we know that from this one proceeds all health, all vitality, all abundance. And we know that we are called to see these things and to be aware and to be still and to know and also to take action. So with great thanksgiving, great rejoicing, to know the health, the abundance, the prosperity, for ourselves, for the center, for the world, for all of the creatures in the world, for the very atmosphere itself. The air is divine. The air is God. And we know that everything flows out and perfectly resolves. So we declare this, we demand it, we accept it, we exude it, and so it is.